There is someone, at this very moment, whose heartbeat changes whenever thoughts of you quietly enter his mind. You may not realize it yet. You may not fully understand the depth of the emotions he carries every time your name passes through his thoughts. But there is something you need to hear today, something that has been waiting for the perfect moment to reach you. There is a man, a soul who has appeared in your thoughts, your dreams, and those quiet moments when you wonder if genuine love will ever find its way into your life. Whether you have acknowledged it or not, his feelings for you run far deeper than you imagine. Before you dismiss these words or convince yourself they could never apply to you, allow yourself to stay present. Keep your heart open, because what you are about to understand may change the way you see this connection. Nothing meaningful enters our lives without purpose. The path that led you to this message is not simply chance. Sometimes life brings us exactly where we need to be, not because of coincidence, but because there is something our soul is ready to recognize. Hidden beneath the surface is a truth about love, about emotional connection, and about someone whose heart has quietly become intertwined with yours. Yet this story is more complex than it first appears. There is an unseen layer, one that has prevented this relationship from naturally unfolding. By the end of this message, you may begin to understand why this bond has remained suspended between possibility and reality, waiting for the right conditions to emerge. Deep down, you've already sensed it. There were moments when the atmosphere seemed to shift whenever this person entered the room. Certain glances lingered just a little longer than expected. Conversations carried a depth that words alone could never explain. Perhaps you've even found yourself lying awake, wondering whether these feelings were real or simply created by your imagination. Trust what you've been sensing. This connection is not an illusion. Your intuition has been noticing something that your logical mind keeps trying to question. While reason searches for proof, your inner self has already recognized what your heart has quietly known. Sometimes our deepest awareness speaks long before our thoughts are willing to believe it. The man connected to this story carries emotions that even he struggles to explain. At times, the intensity of what he feels surprises him. Falling in love was never part of his plan. It wasn't a decision he consciously made. It happened naturally, little by little, almost without him noticing. Like the sunrise arriving each morning without asking permission, your presence slowly transformed something within him. Since then, those feelings have remained. No amount of distance, distraction, or changing circumstances has been able to erase them. They continue to exist beneath the surface, steady and persistent, refusing to disappear. What matters most is understanding that the challenges surrounding this connection are not signs that it is destined to fail. Obstacles do not automatically mean two people are not meant to be together. We often imagine that real love should unfold effortlessly, free from uncertainty or emotional struggle. Yet the deepest connections rarely grow that way. The relationships that shape us most often arrive with lessons attached. They require patience, emotional maturity, and personal growth. They are tested, not to destroy them, but to reveal whether both people have become ready to receive what they have been searching for. Your own journey has been preparing you for something different. Every lonely season, every unanswered prayer, every moment you felt overlooked or unappreciated has quietly contributed to the person you are becoming. None of those experiences were meaningless. Each disappointment has strengthened your spirit while softening your heart. You have loved with sincerity, often giving more than you received. You believed in people during moments when they could not believe in themselves. You stayed hopeful even when life offered reasons to give up. Through those experiences, your heart has expanded. It has learned resilience without losing compassion. That inner transformation is part of why this connection exists now. This man is not separate from your journey. He is woven into it. But before this relationship can fully take shape, the invisible barriers standing between you must first be recognized. Only then can they begin to dissolve. This message is not meant to provide temporary comfort or offer empty reassurance. Its purpose is much deeper. It invites you to look beyond appearances, to question old assumptions, and to open parts of your awareness that may have remained closed for far too long. Sometimes the greatest shift begins not with changing the world around you, but with seeing your own story through a completely new lens. As these words settle within you, Allow yourself to quietly acknowledge something important, not for anyone else's approval, but for your own heart. Recognize that you are becoming ready to see your love life with greater honesty and clarity, even if some truths seem complex at first. Growth begins the moment we stop resisting what our soul is trying to reveal. There is also a simple principle worth remembering. Every act of support, kindness, or generosity is an exchange of energy. What you freely give has a remarkable way of returning to you, often through unexpected opportunities, relationships, or moments of grace. Life is constantly responding to the energy we place into it. Even when nothing appears to be changing on the surface, unseen shifts are taking place. Circumstances are quietly arranging themselves in ways you cannot yet fully perceive. You were led to this moment for a reason. Confusion is beginning to lose its hold, making room for understanding. Doubt is slowly giving way to inner certainty, and the answers you've been searching for are drawing closer than they have ever been before. If something inside you feels deeply connected to these words, if your intuition quietly whispers that this message speaks to your own experience, don't dismiss that feeling. Moments like these often awaken a deeper awareness. They invite you to see your emotions, your relationships, and your path through a completely different perspective. This journey is about far more than romance alone. It is about healing, purpose, self-discovery, and trusting the natural unfolding of life. When you stop forcing outcomes and begin moving with the timing meant for you, situations that once seemed confusing begin revealing their deeper meaning. You may not have every answer today, but something within you is already shifting. Quietly, steadily, you are moving closer to the truth your heart has been seeking. Many people have experienced healing after believing it was impossible. Broken relationships have found peace. Lives once filled with uncertainty have discovered renewed purpose. Authentic love has entered the lives of those who became emotionally ready to receive it. Transformation rarely happens overnight, but it always begins with a willingness to remain open. If Jungian Horizons resonates with you, consider subscribing and enabling notifications. Rather than simply following a channel, let it be a personal commitment to continue exploring deeper insight, emotional growth, and meaningful guidance. It is a small step that reflects your willingness to keep learning, healing, and opening yourself to greater understanding. Now let's return to the man whose heart continues to move toward you despite everything standing in his way. Take a slow, calming breath. Allow your body to relax. Release whatever tension you may be carrying and simply remain present. This is a space meant for reflection, compassion, and honest understanding. The man we're speaking about never expected to fall in love with you. In the beginning, he likely convinced himself that his feelings were nothing more than admiration or friendship. He searched for logical explanations each time his emotions grew stronger in your presence. Yet no explanation could erase what his heart already knew. Love arrived quietly. It grew without permission, without planning, and without warning. Over time, it changed something fundamental inside him. What he feels is not temporary attraction or passing fascination. It has become part of who he is, quietly reshaping the way he sees himself and the future. You may wonder whether these words truly relate to the person already occupying your thoughts. Understand this. Meaningful messages are recognized through inner resonance rather than external proof. When something genuinely speaks to your spirit, there is often a calm sense of recognition that cannot be fully explained. If one face keeps returning to your mind, if one name continues echoing in your heart as you listen, don't ignore that quiet awareness. Sometimes our intuition understands long before our reasoning catches up. Now, we come to the challenge standing between you. This obstacle is not a sign that your connection is impossible. Complications are invitations to grow, not permanent barriers. They ask for patience, wisdom, and compassion rather than fear. The greatest obstacle between you is rooted in fear, but not the fear most people assume. It is not simply fear of commitment or even fear of loving someone deeply. It is the fear created by wounds he has carried for far too long. Some of those experiences may never have been spoken aloud. Others he may barely acknowledge even to himself. At some point in his life, he trusted completely. He allowed himself to become vulnerable, believing his heart would be protected. Instead, he experienced disappointment. Perhaps it came through rejection, betrayal, abandonment, or the painful realization that someone he loved could never value him in return. Whatever the circumstances, the result was the same. He learned to protect himself. Slowly, he built emotional walls that seemed impossible for anyone to cross. Those defenses became his way of surviving future pain. Yet something unexpected happened. Without trying to change him, without forcing your way into his life, you reached places inside him that no one else had touched in years. Your presence quietly slipped past the barriers he believed would always keep him safe. You awakened emotions he had convinced himself no longer existed. That realization both comforts and frightens him. His heart naturally moves toward you, while his mind continually reminds him of every disappointment he has experienced before. One part of him longs to trust again, while another part fears repeating the same heartbreak. Most importantly, never mistake this struggle as a reflection of your worth. It is not happening because you are lacking, unlovable, or somehow not enough. His hesitation belongs to his own healing process, not to your value as a person. The conflict exists because he is learning how to believe in love again after convincing himself that emotional safety required keeping everyone at a distance. In many ways, your arrival became part of that healing journey. Whether he realizes it completely or not, your presence has challenged beliefs he carried for years. You have become a reminder that genuine connection still exists and that not every story ends in disappointment. If these words continue to resonate within you, simply allow yourself to receive them without forcing conclusions. Love unfolds according to its own seasons. Every meaningful relationship has its own rhythm, and timing often matters just as much as emotion itself. Even when progress feels slow, life is often preparing both hearts for the moment they are truly ready to meet each other completely. The challenges surrounding this connection are not proof that it is destined to fail. They simply suggest that certain pieces of the journey are still finding their proper place. The man who loves you does not need distance from you. He needs time to face the parts of himself he has avoided for far too long. He is slowly realizing that the walls he once built to protect his heart have become the very barriers keeping him from the love he truly desires. Your role is not to chase, convince, or prove your value. You are not meant to force what is already unfolding in its own time. Instead, you are invited to remain authentic, grounded, and patient, trusting that whatever brought your paths together is also capable of guiding them forward. Waiting is rarely easy. Uncertainty can weigh heavily on the heart, and naturally you want answers. You want to know when he will finally step toward you with confidence instead of hesitation. While no exact moment can be promised, one thing is becoming increasingly clear. Change has already begun. Quiet transformations are taking place beneath the surface. His heart is gradually softening. Old wounds are beginning to heal, and he is slowly recognizing the value of what has been standing before him all along. There is another part of his struggle that deserves understanding. His hesitation is not shaped only by emotional pain from the past. It is also influenced by the way he sees his present life. Deep inside, he feels unfinished. He measures himself against impossible standards and believes he should be further ahead than he is. Whether it concerns his career, finances, personal growth, or sense of stability, he feels there are parts of his life that should be stronger before he can truly offer himself to someone he loves. From his perspective, waiting feels like protection. He fears bringing you into a life he believes is still incomplete. He wants to stand beside you with confidence, believing he has something meaningful to contribute. This desire is about far more than success or material security. At its core, it reflects a longing to feel worthy of the love he already carries for you. Yet this is where his greatest lesson begins. No one reaches a point where every problem has been solved before love enters their life. Human beings are always evolving. We are constantly learning, healing, and discovering who we are becoming. Love is not a reward reserved for people who have perfected themselves. It is something that grows alongside our imperfections, helping us become stronger together. The belief that he must wait until he feels completely ready has quietly stolen precious time from both of you. Time that could have been spent building trust, sharing experiences, and growing together instead of apart. Little by little, his perspective is changing. New realizations are beginning to emerge within him, encouraging him to question beliefs he has carried for years. The more he reflects, the more he starts to understand that waiting for perfect circumstances often becomes another way of avoiding vulnerability. And perfection, after all, is an illusion that no one ever truly reaches. What creates lasting relationships is not flawless timing or flawless people. It is the willingness to support one another through life's unfinished chapters. Genuine love is built through honesty, commitment, patience, and the courage to grow side by side. If these words resonate with you, quietly remind yourself, his heart is opening. Let that simple affirmation become a reflection of hope rather than fear, not because it forces an outcome, but because it reminds you to stay connected to possibility instead of doubt. While he continues navigating his own healing, there is something equally important for you to remember. Your own heart deserves care. There may have been moments when you questioned whether you were truly worthy of the kind of love you long for. Perhaps past disappointments left you wondering whether lasting, fulfilling love was meant for someone else rather than for you. Those thoughts are not the truth. Your worth has never depended on past mistakes, failed relationships, or the inability of others to recognize your value. Nothing that has happened to you has diminished who you are. Your value exists independently of anyone else's ability to appreciate it. When this man finally reaches the point where fear no longer controls him, he will not be giving you something you lacked. Instead, he will recognize the gift he has been fortunate enough to receive. He will appreciate your patience, your understanding, and the quiet strength that allowed this connection to grow instead of disappear. You have also wondered about timing. When will things begin to change? When will this emotional distance finally begin to dissolve? The answer is that movement has already started, even if it remains invisible for now. Something is approaching that will shift his perspective. It could come through an honest conversation with someone he deeply respects. It may arrive during a quiet moment of reflection when he can no longer ignore what his heart has been trying to tell him. Sometimes profound realizations emerge unexpectedly, changing everything within a single moment of clarity. However it unfolds, that turning point is drawing closer. When it arrives, you will notice the difference. His hesitation will gradually give way to confidence. The distance that once separated you will begin to shrink. He will naturally look for opportunities to be closer, reaching out in small but meaningful ways. His actions will finally begin reflecting the feelings he has carried inside for so long. Your patience throughout this season is not passive. It is an active expression of trust. It means believing that meaningful growth often happens long before it becomes visible. The same process shaping your own life is also shaping the relationships that are meant to become part of it. If doubt still lingers within you, acknowledge it gently instead of fighting it. Perhaps previous disappointments have made hope feel risky. That hesitation is understandable. But ask yourself this: what do you truly lose by remaining open to the possibility that something beautiful is still unfolding? Hope does not require ignoring reality. It simply asks you not to close your heart before the story has finished unfolding. Choosing hope over fear creates space for possibilities that doubt would never allow. Remember one final truth. Your life is moving toward peace rather than confusion, toward purpose rather than emptiness. Even if every step is not yet visible, your path is unfolding with meaning. The relationship you long for is not defined by today's uncertainty, but by the growth both of you are experiencing along the way. The man who loves you is part of that journey. The obstacles you face today are not signs that you have taken the wrong path. They are chapters preparing both of you for what comes next. Every delay carries its own purpose, and every season of waiting shapes the foundation for what is still to come. Every season of waiting is shaping both of your hearts for what lies ahead. Nothing about this process is meaningless. Every delay, every unanswered question, and every quiet moment of uncertainty is preparing each of you for a connection that is meant to be built on a stronger foundation. The fact that you have remained here, continuing to reflect on these words, is significant. Many people would have dismissed a message like this before allowing themselves to truly consider it. Yet you stayed, you listened. You allowed yourself to explore something deeper than surface emotions. That alone says something about where you are in your own journey. It reveals a willingness to understand your life with greater awareness and openness. Take a quiet moment and remind yourself, I trust the timing. Allow those words to settle within you. They are not about giving up control, but about releasing the need to force what is already unfolding in its own way. Trust allows patience to replace fear. It reminds you that even when every answer isn't visible, life can still be moving in your favor. There is one final truth worth holding close. What this man feels for you is unlike anything he has experienced before. Yes, there have been other people in his life. There have been relationships, attachments, and moments that once seemed meaningful. But what he experiences with you reaches a place inside him that no one else has ever touched. Your presence creates a feeling he cannot easily explain. Deep within himself, he recognizes something familiar. Being with you feels less like discovering someone new and more like remembering something his heart has always known. Around you, he experiences a quiet sense of peace, belonging, and emotional safety. Without realizing it, you became the answer to a longing he never fully understood until you entered his life. That realization is both beautiful and overwhelming. It is exactly what gives this connection its depth, but it is also why he struggles so much. Somewhere inside, he knows how rare this bond is. He understands that what exists between you cannot easily be replaced or forgotten. Yet the fears he still carries continue pulling him backward whenever his heart wants to move forward. Fortunately, fear is not permanent. The emotional walls he built through years of disappointment will not stand forever. Little by little, they will weaken as healing continues. When those barriers finally fall, the love he has been holding inside will no longer remain hidden. It will be expressed honestly, openly, and without the hesitation that once controlled him. One day he will look back at this period of uncertainty and wonder why he spent so much time resisting what his heart already knew. He will recognize the value of your patience and understand that your quiet strength gave this connection the space it needed to grow. Until then, your greatest responsibility is not to change him. It is to protect your own peace. Do not allow worry to replace confidence. Resist the urge to force answers or create movement out of fear that nothing is happening. Sometimes the strongest expression of love is remaining centered while life unfolds naturally. What truly belongs to you does not require constant chasing. Remain steady. Remain grounded. Trust that what is meant for your life is already finding its way toward you. There are many moments when the most meaningful work happens beyond what we can immediately see. Just because progress is invisible does not mean it has stopped. Some of life's greatest transformations begin quietly, long before they appear in the physical world. Whether you see evidence today or not, your story continues unfolding. Every experience, every lesson, and every season is preparing the next chapter. The connection you have been reflecting on is also moving through its own process of growth, even during moments when everything appears still. If this message has spoken to your heart, consider passing it along to someone else who may need encouragement today. There may be a friend, a family member, or someone quietly carrying questions about love, timing, or hope. Sometimes a few thoughtful words can become the reassurance another person has been searching for. By sharing insight with others, you become part of something meaningful. Healing often grows when it is shared, and hope has a remarkable way of multiplying as it passes from one heart to another. Remember this, above all else. You are not walking your path alone. Life often provides quiet guidance through unexpected moments, gentle reminders, and meaningful encounters. As you continue moving forward with patience, self-trust, and an open heart, you also become someone capable of offering that same light to others. Keep trusting your journey. Keep protecting your peace. And when the time is right, what is meant for you will arrive, not through force or fear, but with the quiet certainty that it was always finding its way to you.